This is your shining beacons in the dark alley of the Underhive, 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio, broadcasting tonight from sublevel 212's Globotron Center. We are part of the Diva Cleopatra Estrada's pre-concert entertainment. We're not even a pirate broadcast this time, so you just have to deal with our lovely voices all night. Well, at least until the Diva takes over. In Hive news, the Innsmouth militia took over the Red Squig Energy Manufactorum.
Red Squig.
It gives you teeth.
From Clan Nessesis in a years-long conflict that is threatened to spill over into open gang warfare in several districts as the two are now battling for control of the lovely red drink.
That's good stuff. You son of a bitch.
As always, I am Ryan the Goblin King, and today I am joined by my co-hosts Marky,
Olo,
Beast.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And coming to us from the front lines of that Red Squig Energy Manufactorum takeover is Kevin. Kevin, how were you involved?
I'm involved by keeping my head down so that I don't get shot.
He did bring us lovely footage, though. I'm pretty sure it's just of a girl across the street, but it is, in fact, lovely footage.
Quite lovely, if I do say so myself.
and a lot of Red Squig. I dig it. I dig
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Just bathing in a bunch of Red Squig. The champion drink.
The best.
We've gotten a couple of questions from our community and some listeners about what's going on with our radio broadcasts, introductions and outros.
Why we do it.
Yeah, and it's just kind of our little bit of a flavor into the lore.
It's a bit.
It's a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
It's our
it's
shtick.
funny. It's our
Yeah.
shtick. Makes us unique.
It's our seasoning.
Unique New York.
So
Well,
are you doing your vocal
Did
exercises
you learn that from
now?
the video book?
He's doing his vocal
Probably.
exercises
I did.
now. Do you want to say
So
watermelon?
in this book I was listening
Oh,
to,
God.
they did.
went to New York.
Marky's
Unique
book
New
hour.
York.
So I convinced these guys to give up mandatory podcast fuck around time today so we can get you guys a little bit of a better idea as to what the background and the lore of the podcast is itself.
Pretty
So,
sure people are like, the whole podcast is fuck around time, is it not?
100%.
There's nothing organized about what we do.
Specifically, this nonsense that we stick at the beginning that
Yes.
sounds like we know.
the flavor nonsense.
Red Squig.
So we decided pretty early on that we wanted to kind of adopt this kind of unique radio station style pirate broadcast motif.
Like
on
a
the
persona almost.
Yeah,
Right,
the idea is that we're four guys running around the Underhive with a bunch of radio gear, and then we just set up, nightly, and we broadcast whatever bullshit we want to talk about to anybody in the Hive that's ready to listen.
Yeah, and I wanted to add kind of like a Romeo and Juliet, like Forbidden Love. All four of us are from different gangs, which we don't know.
Which we don't know.
Which we don't know yet. Well, we know, but we don't know.
We just don't talk
We're
about
still developing.
we just don't talk about it.
We're still developing lore.
Well, right, but our characters, our personas
Right.
in the lore don't know that the other people are in other gangs. We're just four guys that have been meeting together
Yeah.
ever since we were four
We're
armed
like-minded.
rats.
Yeah, exactly. Like-minded friends, individuals that just so happen to keep meeting up and ended up in different gangs.
So the Hive itself is named Innsmouth Hive, and we ran a poll on our Discord to come up with a couple of different names, and then we had everybody vote. As the podcast title, Under the Hive of Madness, is a callback to H.P. Lovecraft's Under the Mountains of Madness, we went with the four primary cities that he mentions in his writing. For those of you who don't know who H.P. Lovecraft is, he is an early 19th century horror writer. Mark and I
Never heard of them.
are definitely big horror heads. I feel like you guys are also you guys are horror dabblers.
I have.
Yeah,
I'm fucking.
He's doing the thing he does.
I was like, are you playing dumb or are you actually
I'm
dumb
being
this
a little shit.
H.P. Lovecraft is not a continent. You're fine.
Oh, it all,
You can't
this
find
makes
it on a
sense.
map, so it
This
doesn't
makes
matter.
sense.
Don't worry about it.
Tom and Kevin, you guys definitely dabble a little bit in
He's
the
the
horror
guy
if you're
that,
not 100% horror.
Yeah, like all my original like horror stories were, I'm pretty sure, Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least they're all from that time period, like,
That's Harry Potter, right?
Yes, HP is Harry Potter.
Or no,
Harry Potter Lovecraft.
Poe.
Yes.
Like,
Can we
like
rewrite?
some of the Edgar Allan Poe
Can you
stuff, but
imagine
also,
rewriting the entire fucking Harry Potter series, but it's
be
HP It's Harry Potter Lovecraft.
That'd be so every time they cast a spell, there's a chance of it backfiring. Like,
And they die.
No, it's just
like, the war,
like
fucking tentacle
40K?
comes out, grabs her mind,
Oh, dude.
drags her off, and you're just like, well,
Why
I guess
is
she's dead.
Dude, yeah. So the Fantasy Flight Dark Heresy book, there's a bunch of like random shit, Perils of the Warp.
I love it. I love
My
that whole
absolute
table.
favorite one is like all mirrors within 100 meters or whatever start crying
this
blood.
is turning into mandatory fuck around
I know.
time?
Yeah, so
We
to
got
get
off
us
topic again.
so to get us back on topic, the Innsmouth was the city that won. So we named the Hive Innsmouth. We talk a lot about the four-armed rats and the four-armed emperor. So we kind of wanted to just get into what Hive planet or what Hive worlds are really quick, what Hive cities are really quick, and then get into a little bit more of that personal lore, just to give you guys an idea of the flavor that we're kind of crafting as we do this. So a Hive world is probably the most notable world in the Imperium, as Tom brought up in the past. If you were to search right now in Google, what's a world look like in Warhammer 40k, there's a really good chance you're going to either find a Hive world or a Forge world picture. One of the most famous Hive worlds in the setting is not the Hive worlds, but it is a Hive world. It's Hive world Necromunda. Necromunda actually has its own game. So there's a lot of lore that centers around Necromunda. There's a lot of stuff that you can look up to. You know, if you just go ahead and Google search Hive world, go ahead and Google search Necromunda. Necromunda at this point has video games that take place in it, which we'll definitely talk about a little bit later on in this game, in this podcast episode.
In this game we call life.
So most
called a game.
So most Hive worlds are industrial wastelands. Massive amounts of pollution has taken over the entire planet, and these planets are basically like bent to manufacturing and production. That manufacturing and production can be normal goods. You know, there might be Mechanicus supply line that goes by the planet. They drop stuff off.
There might be Red Squig.
Yeah, it might be Red Squig. And the people that live in the Hive manufacture the goods for the Imperium, or that production and manufacturing could just be people for the Imperial war machine. Hive worlds are usually really close to shipping lanes or actually part of or near Forge worlds. Hive worlds might actually be Forge worlds. Kevin, you had brought up the Hive where they're actually strip mining down.
Yeah, there's a Hive where it was a mineral-rich planet, and in order to get at the minerals, they just built the city on top of the mine and are just digging down. And as they dig down, they just build downwards.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, the closer you are to the mining is the worst part. And so as they dig, they improve the upper layers to be nicer. So all the workers live at the bottom and follow the equipment down lower.
Yeah.
And that's their only job is mining. They don't make anything else. They just make raw resources.
And that's what a Hive world is. A Hive world is just given over to massive amounts of population making massive amounts of stuff. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea, a single Hive city has a population between 10 to 100 billion people. And a Hive world can have anywhere between 5 to 20 Hive cities on it. So these are massive, massive population centers. So Hive worlds themselves are you ready for it, Marky? Arcologies.
I've heard this word before.
So they're
like it's where Tom grew up, right? Did I get that right? Tom, you grew up in an arcology?
An arcology is a concept of like a city, a self-contained city. So, you know, the shopping centers you go to, the place you work, everything is included. They were really common, I feel like, in the early 80s. They're kind of coming back now.
They used to call it the company town.
Yep, company town.
Like in the mining days, like I guess that was what, 40s, 50s.
Yeah, if you're familiar with Middle America at all, there's a lot of corn towns, there's a lot of grain towns. Same idea. You work for the corporation owns to a certain extent the land. Everybody who lives there works the land.
My ass.
Yeah.
It's almost like corporate feudalism.
Yeah.
Essentially,
no shit,
that is corporate feudalism, right? Like
Yeah.
That's the corporation owns literally everything.
Those are two big
and
words.
you work for the corporation.
So yeah,
You don't have to explain.
Dollar King. Dollar King.
Monopoly.
Yeah.
so
Monopoly.
yeah, Hive cities are arcologies. They're massively self-contained cities with populations existing in the billions. They're normally built organically over thousands of Terran years. So somebody doesn't build a massive one and then everybody moves in. They just kind of slowly, a normal city becomes a Hive city. A Hive city is not planned.
Gotcha.
They can be.
They can be.
The
but
Mechanicus is
yeah.
like when they find a new planet and they're like, oh, we want to build a bunch of shit here. Like they will eventually plan for it to become a big city.
They'll lay out the foundations. They'll plan a big city with the idea of going sub-levels and building up. But essentially imagine like
But they don't like go
Tokyo,
like stake out, 10 miles of city right off the bat.
So
small city.
Tokyo would be a great example. So you've got the Dubai example, which Kevin just brought up. Mechanicus shows up and wants to build a fuck off huge city. And then you got like the Tokyo example. And the Tokyo example is at a certain point, Tokyo can't grow except up.
Right. New York, same way.
Shanghai, New York. There's plenty of cities in our current world that are already experiencing the build up rather than build out.
I mean, LA's almost getting there. What are they going to do?
San Angeles?
Yeah.
San Diego.
The mega sprawl of San Angeles.
San Diego, basically any of the major coastal cities in California have hit the point where they've hit the mountains now. They've built from the coast all the way to the mountains.
And that's called a sprawl, which is a different part. But essentially once you're done sprawling, you go up. You go up. You hive.
Because it's always easier to build out than it is to build up. Yeah. Until you get to a certain point.
Right. So the center of these hive cities are usually powered by deep and massive geothermal power plants. Manufacturing and massive elevators cluster around these centers. And they draw power from them and also transport the goods up. But
they keep
all your manufacturing, keep it warm at night, power the entire city. And, you want your manufacturing hubs nearest to your power sources. Often hive cities have a core that's a space tether. So the upper portions of the hive spire actually reach into the planet's most upper layers of atmosphere.
So hence why we, like, every time we bring up, like, our bit, we're like, we're on sub-level 235.
Yeah, we'll get to sub-levels. We are not at the top, guys. We are at the bottom.
The bottom.
Yeah. But these uppermost levels are organized for easy spaceport access, landing, or connections to space, tethering umbilicals, and other stuff. These massive man-made mountains are construction projects of layered rockcrete and adamantine, with residential and industrial districts or zones overlapping each other in the interior. There's not really a lot of planning. You have a big manufacturing plant that might go span 4 or 5 different levels, and then you kind of have like company housing, as you mentioned earlier, just built right onto that manufactorum.
They call them, or at least the Mechanicus calls them, have blocks. I'm pretty sure the rest of the Imperium calls them the same thing because they're all built off the same pattern.
Yeah.
But the idea is that they're like, okay, we built a factory, and a factory is so big, and then they're like, all right, that factory requires so much workforce. Bam, hab block. And then everybody in that hab block works for that factory.
Oh, okay.
And it'll even go down to like everybody in this portion, especially in the upper hive, which we'll get to here in a second. But everybody who's in part of the Navy, the higher ups, the aristocracy. They may also all be in like the admiral's hat block.
I believe the first word, so you don't have to correct yourself.
Aristocracy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's a real word.
Aristocracy?
Yeah, that's a real word.
Words are made up.
The Aristocats.
So generally speaking, the higher up in the spire you go, the richer the citizenry becomes, with the uppermost levels being given over entirely to the Imperium's elite and the system or planetary governors. Usually the upper spire is all in control of one noble house, and that noble house owns or controls the entire hive.
And they're almost like, the noble houses are almost like merchant families.
Yes.
Like East India Trade Company, not at that level. That's more like Rogue Trader House. Mm-hmm. But these are like the guys, like the, single town version of that.
Have you guys seen Altered Carbon?
I have.
Yes.
Is it kind of like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the upper spires are often miles above the pollution that chokes the planet's surface in the lower levels of the hive.
Like how that one dude lived on the fucking cloud way out above the clouds and shit. Yeah. It's like that.
Wealthy merchants, as Kevin just brought up, and rogue traders utilize all these upper spire spaces to conduct business and run their massive trade syndicates. The lower in the hive you get, the poorer your communities become, with the lowest levels of the hive being underneath and choked by the ever-present cloak of pollution. Unlike the upper hive, whose citizens can actually go outside of the hive and breathe quote-unquote fresh air and exist outside of the constant threat of acid rain and all the other problems that come with massive industrialization, lower hivers will probably never actually even see the outside world. And if they do, they'll probably die in it.
They got that spicy rain.
Spicy rain.
You mentioned the Fantasy Flight RPGs.
Yep.
They actually represent that by characters from Hive worlds are agoraphobic.
Yeah. They don't like being outside.
World, you fail all your wilderness tests. Like you take penalties to do stuff when you're outside.
That's crazy.
And there's people never seen grass in his life.
Yeah. And there's people
You've never been outside. You've never seen the sky. And then all of a
you're
sudden,
on recycled air.
all of a sudden
yeah.
you get off the transport and, you're stuck in the woods.
The
You're
base.
like, I've never been camping.
So think like
base of a
Total
Hive.
Recall. Think like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'd say think more like Kevin Costner from Waterworld, where he stands on the land and he freaks out.
That could work.
I don't belong here.
Exactly.
the massive circumference of Hive City 2 may mean that you live in the if you live in the middle, you could be 25 miles away from the outer wall. And your job,
Like,
your job, your social, no one owns cars, your job, your social circle, your mass transit, everything you need probably goes up and down rather than side to side, one. And two, you probably never get more than like 10 miles away from your house, because the easiest way to walk away from your hab block, not your house, the easiest way to walk away from your hab block is with your feet.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, if the company pays for the elevator that gets you to work, the company ain't going to pay for a fucking tram to take you to this.
That's why they go 3 feet.
Yeah.
And then and that's why there's like the local bars and like things like that. It's very much because it's all, you have to remember, this is all inspired by real world analogs. So this is like, they sci-fi'd the idea of like medieval urban sprawl, where like there's a big fortress and all the nobles,
and you don't leave the fortress
area, and then everybody just kept building slums on the outside.
And this is actually something
that gets bigger and bigger. You know the idea.
Yeah.
This is actually something that happens there. So between China and Hong Kong, there was a little tiny province called Kulong. And you guys can Google this too. The Kulong walled city. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, I remember this. The big giant favela.
Yeah.
It's
literally this densely packed, like 6 or 7 block Hive City.
7 stories also.
Yeah, it's 6 or 7 stories tall. No one's following building regulations anymore. It's just hundreds. It was like 100,000 people. It was a lot of people living in a very small area.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you hear about this kind of stuff? Because I live under a rock, I guess. Because
you never leave your house.
This motherfucker's from the Underhive. It's fine.
So you think of an example. Think of me, because I'm pretty much a hermit. If you guys don't know, now you know.
We'll toss a couple links into the show notes.
Sure.
We'll link a Kulong.
Kulong, right?
Yeah.
Is it like the T?
I think it's KWOON.
I can go for some tea right now.
Yeah, right. Oolong tea. That's a T, right?
Oolong tea is a T. Yeah. But yeah, we'll toss a couple of things. We'll toss. There's a guy who gives a really interesting lecture on the arcology. It's pretty short, and then there's another dude who talks about the walled city.
And y'all trying to like make me do research.
There we go.
You don't have to.
See,
man.
that's why you never hear of any of this stuff. Is because when you hear about something, you think it's research.
But here's the thing: like you understand the concept of a coffin hotel, right? Like a Japanese coffin hotel.
Never heard of it.
Really? So it's like there's like a capsule.
You brought up
I've
Altered
seen
Carbon.
those.
You remember in Altered Carbon when he's just like he looks for that tiny little space to sleep, and it's literally just that pod.
Yeah,
it's that.
Okay,
that's actually a thing. Like
the idea of people living in these compact examples. You watch the television show Warrior. Yeah. They totally like a hab block would be where all the Chinese immigrants that aren't part of the Tong live.
I'm learning.
They're like it's in between. It's literally an alleyway that somebody slapped the roof on, and they're just all kind of like sleeping in the same space.
Yeah,
that's kind of that's like a hab block.
Gotcha.
So if that just repeated itself a bunch, stacked.
I always think of like a favela, like South America.
Yeah.
Like where they started with an apartment building and then they just started slapping
extra parts on it.
Yeah, see, how do you know, how do you remember favela? Like, I know novella.
I guarantee you video games.
Okay.
Well, actually.
And you have a better memory.
Video games and movies?
I saw it in a movie. I looked up what it was, and then it was also a level in, I think it was Call of Duty, or it was either Call of Duty or Counter-Strike was called favela.
It's Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
It's probably both, actually. But
yeah, it probably is.
You know how like right now you're just starting to like look into things.
I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah, look, hold on, let me finish. You know what I mean? Like how you're just now starting to like look into. You're like, oh, I got like an audio book, right?
I got this new thing.
Yeah, like you know how that's like brand new to you. We were doing that when we were like 6. That's why we know stuff.
All right, Tom, you're just gonna rub it in.
I gotta tell you.
I'm just gonna rub it in that you're stupid.
Let me
I thought you were gonna say 5. So
let me dial. I'm gonna dial it back for the normies. if I remember right, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. You've seen Bad Boys or Bad Boys.
Bad Boys 2.
Yes.
They drive through a favela.
That's what I'm talking. That scene where they're just busting through basically a bunch of homeless people's shacks
and shacks are exploding.
Yeah,
Or,
but
District
the reason
9. You saw District 9, right?
Yeah.
You remember all the poor ass motherfuckers?
Yeah,
right.
in the fucking
Hold on.
shit?
Let's not
Hold
get
on.
his point. Let's not
Look,
get his point.
the reason, right? We've seen all those things, right? But the difference is that Mark doesn't give enough of a shit
to
look for what that is, right? He's just like, oh, there's a bunch of aliens driving through a fucking thing. Oh, well, and that's it. Like, he just moves on with his life.
Another word is shantytown.
How do you know me so well?
But anyways, the idea is that it's built haphazardly and without thought. Without lengthy thought.
So to rein us back in a little bit,
Stop talking about why I don't know shit.
Yeah,
the mid hive levels exist kind of split. That the pollution level splits the mid hive essentially in half. If you're richer and you live in the mid hive, you're probably above the pollution. Living.
Hey, in my fucking defense, there's other people out there like me, okay?
No, there's not.
If you're poor,
No, there is absolutely not.
No. To be fair, I said the word favela when people were describing the den from Wasteland, and everybody looked at me like I was speaking fucking Portuguese.
Well, yeah.
because you are. Because you are. I'm pretty sure favela is a Portuguese word.
It wasn't.
Actually, you're right.
Kevin, what you're talking about is when those people were looking at you, it was just Mark.
No,
you were explaining it here.
Other places.
And if I was there during this conversation,
Hey,
I was
man.
also looking at you like that because day drunk.
Hey, if there's one of our listeners that has never heard the word favela, hit me up. All right, I want to know.
I'm
not alone.
I haven't seen the word or heard the word, but know the image.
Let's drag everything back. Let's drag everything back. So as I was trying to get out, the mid hive is split by the pollution level. If you're richer, you're going to live above the pollution level. If you're poor, you're going to live below it. In either case, there's a really good chance you don't know what quote unquote fresh air is.
Above the favela.
You're used to recycled air.
Yeah.
You're what President Scroob. You open your Perry Air.
Oh yeah, Perry Air.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Oh, that's where I've heard that before.
President Scroob. Yeah. So so the lowest levels
I'm a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
So the next chunk we're going to talk about is the underhive. So hive cities are massively man-made mountains, and they often extend deep underground. Think about a third of their height is going to be underground. These were originally massive sub-basements, maybe storage for the Mechanicus, foundations to keep all this shit up. And as the massive height and weight of the hive city has gone up, literally the hive city sinks into the crust of the planet. It's that heavy.
And that's actually real. Like, we have buildings in current society that are so heavy they're slowly sinking.
We also have lots of examples.
How the fuck do you know this, Kevin?
Because I went to the Washington Monument and they told me.
So here, this might blow your mind. If you want a real,
it's so skinny.
If you want a real,
low surface tension or low. Yeah.
If you want a real world exists in today's example of this, the city of Paris is the same way. The city of Paris is built on like 3 or 4 different layers. The bottommost layer is the original Paris.
I'm not even going to ask how you know this, Ryan, because you're a psycho.
And then the Romans moved in and built on top of it. And then the Moors moved in and built on top of that. And then modern Paris was built on top of that. That's why Paris has the catacombs. That's why Seattle is another example. Seattle, the entire city has been slowly sinking.
Venice.
Where's Paris?
France.
Shut up.
Where's France?
Shut up.
Where's France?
You're not that
Just
dumb.
shut up. You're not that dumb.
Don't make me slap.
Not even going to play. Not even playing.
Come on, man. Humor me.
You can't bait that. Come
Let's
All right.
hypothetically, let's say I don't know where that is.
No.
So if you want a really easy thing to Google right now, because you're wondering about the concepts we're talking about, look up Seattle Underground. Seattle is built on a bog. Since it's built on a bog, it's been slowly sinking into the bog.
But there's also that, and you also got to remember the earthquake. The earthquake was the main reason why they built on top. The earthquake buried half the city. Because of that, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying you also have to. That was a huge thing. That was like what covered most of it.
Look up the Seattle Underground. There was a time in Seattle's history where the street that you drove on was
higher than what you walked on.
Yeah, you would basically climb a ladder to get to the sidewalk to get to the shops.
So tell me what. So this is my problem. Why do I care? Like, why? I don't give a shit that France.
Because you play a fantasy game and a sci-fi game,
and it's based off
that has a hive city in it, and you understand how a hive city works. I'm just trying to give relatable examples.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If people want to go ahead and Google search something and watch like a quick YouTube video to get a concept.
Okay.
There's probably a 2-minute video explaining the Seattle Underground.
Some people have, they can't put it together necessarily in their head without seeing a real world,
motherfucker, if you can't see in your mind's eye that, France is a foot lower than it should be because there's a fucking broken ass city.
That's not how it works. How it works is there was an ancient civilization, and then a civilization took it over. And when that civilization took over, they literally built on top of it. Right. And over hundreds of years, those old ruins sunk under the ground.
I'm pissing people off right now.
Me, mainly.
Also,
and then when you come later,
World War II happened, and they just carpet bomb a city into the ground.
In fact,
we'll rebuild.
The only reason we know that there are ancient civilizations under some of the cities in Eastern Europe, is because of World War II, because bombs would go off and they'd be like, hey, we didn't even know that this 3000 BC city was under the city. No one remembers. It's been that long. That's happening on a hive world, but a hive world, instead of, say Paris is 2,000 or 3,000, maybe 4,000 years old, a hive city might be 10,000 years old. It might date back to the dark age. It's not like they're technology.
They're right. It's not like they have any reason to
nobody gives
to
a
accept
shit.
History and record history and
give a shit.
My life is to wake up.
Like Mark.
My life is to wake up. It's to go to the Red Squig factory. It's to fill bottles until the end of the day and hope my arm doesn't get
closed caps
caught in the machine.
Caught in the machine and ripped off, because if my arm gets caught in the machine and ripped off,
your third one.
The integrity officer of the fucking factory is going to walk up behind me and shoot me in the head. That's my life. If I'm lucky, after my 14-hour shift, maybe I get to watch a docudrama that was made by the propaganda machine of the Imperium. So I'll raise good children that will attempt to be in the guard.
This is why I love 40k, because that's grimdark as fuck.
That's life, brother.
Is the typical work week is 6 days a week.
Oh, no. But not on this.
1 day off.
But not on this planet. And the reason it's not on this planet is because our orbital cycle
only has a 6-day week, so you work all 6 days.
I was gonna say 8 days. So fuck you. You work 7.
That works, but
and because of its orbit, you only get every other Sanguinive Eve off. You don't get everyone.
Yeah.
We'll talk about holidays in 40k eventually. Okay, so none of that helps. The point is, as the city goes up, the underhive goes down.
Okay, physics.
So the lowest levels of the underhive are plagued by hive quakes, sinkholes, fall-ins. It's basically dangerous enough that only the poorest of the poor live there, and the Imperium
doesn't care what
governing body, which in this case is the Adeptus Arbites, they don't even go down there.
Yeah. And as long as you're producing Red Squig, they don't give a shit, right?
They don't care. As long as the manufactorums are continuing to produce, they don't give a shit.
The ones that are still officially operating.
However, gangs recruit from the Underhive. Space Marine chapters will recruit from the Underhive. The Underhive is a den for mutants, rogue psychers. It can be where cultists live.
Gene stealers,
yeah.
Bullshit down
Gene
there.
stealer cults. Another
Chaos
underneath
cults,
the
all kinds of
Underhive.
nonsense happens there.
Underneath the Underhive, the very low level, it's called the Sump. And the Sump is just essentially a radioactive wasteland, but underneath the ground.
Think of the bilge.
Never seen it.
You never were on ship? Oh, no, you're MP.
We don't talk about this. Cut that out.
You didn't give enough information.
You never, they never made you look in the bilge or anything?
No.
Oh. Basically, there's a section on a ship underneath, the floor plating.
Right.
And its job is just to be the shithole.
It's just where it, like extra water collects there.
Every
shit
ship
drains
leaks,
down.
Right, just a little bit.
Right.
That's where that water goes.
Ships don't float because they're buoyant. Well, they do float.
We pump the water out.
They do float because they're buoyant. But the reason that buoyancy exists is because a ship displaces water, and water is actually heavier than the ship.
Yeah.
Physics is weird.
All of the water.
Essentially, if things spill,
a cubic foot of water, a cubic meter of water is heavier than you think it is.
Water is heavy.
That's why buoyancy works. But anyway,
wasn't it 8 pounds per gallon?
Something like that. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so the sump is just a collection of broken warrens, abandoned chemical plants, disaster zones where geothermal meltdowns happened or nuclear meltdowns happened. It can be a collection of forgotten and discarded ancient remnants of humanity. The Underhive itself, above the sump, is a maze of forgotten and abandoned districts. It's constantly sinking and shifting, like we mentioned. Hivequakes are the norm. They can rearrange entire slums. Sinkholes can swallow entire manufactoriums or hab blocks and deposit them in the sump. These areas are impossible to map, and they're often controlled by some of the most dangerous and vicious gangs. And again, as I mentioned, this stuff is so bad, the Arbites don't go down here. However, the Underhive can be a massive center for scavengers, relic hunters, Adeptus Mechanicus, and even Inquisitors. This is like their wet dream. There's abandoned technology, shit from the Dark Age or Golden Age of technology. STCs have been discovered in Underhives and in sumps. There's relics of fallen heroes. There's lost archives where the Imperium doesn't even know that they have records down there. Or there's rare ass minerals that are actually created out of the crazy levels of pollution and extreme pressure of the hive itself. So like literally the shit that's choking you out has been compacted into this mineral. Like imagine if you could like condense LA smog back into oil, but the oil was
carbon and then compress it into diamonds.
But it was like 3 times as fucking potent as gasoline. Like that shit happens in the hive just because of the massive amounts of pressure that
all the
exists.
gases will just pool somewhere and eventually somebody will figure out how to harvest it.
But these are warrens, these warrens and districts hide, as we mentioned, everything from cultists, mutants, rogue psychers, and worse. You brought up gene stealers.
Yeah, gene stealers could be nasty.
So that actually brings us to Innsmouth Hive and some of the stuff you guys have heard us said. So Innsmouth Hive is a hive city on a not yet named Imperial Hive world. And at some point in the city's past, probably more than 1,000 years ago, a variant and now abandoned strain of the gene stealer cult took root in the Underhive and sump levels. However, they're either so deep in hiding or they were defeated at some point by the Hive City's defense forces, so they're effectively non-existent anymore. But the genetic traits of the Tyranids have leaked into the Underhive's rodent population, creating our mutant four-armed rats, the largest of which can grow to the size of a gene stealer broodlord. These mutant rats have changed most.
I do not want to meet one of those.
So these mutant rats have changed most of the Underhive's culture, with cyber mastiffs often being modified to have 6 legs and mutant variants of cats being bred on the return to the size of big game cats, specifically just to hunt these rodents. Wow. We got ourselves some hive lions, motherfucker. Underhive lions. As the rats have become so wrapped up in our culture, the largest size. God damn it, Mark. you want to bring up booty hole? We talked about the sump. You didn't bring up booty hole.
It's not organic. I can't do it, Ryan. It has to organically be brought up. You can't just bring up booty. It's got to organically be brought up.
You're telling me something about that. Slip a finger in the sump?
Nah, dude. That ain't bad.
That was the organic.
I missed that one.
That's organic. Smells organic.
So as rats have become so important to our Underhive's culture, one of the big things that you guys have heard us talk about a lot is the largest Underhive gang, which is the four-armed rats. Rat iconography also often adorns the Hive's counterculture movements. So Mark actually came up with the basics for the four-armed rats and how they work. You want to go ahead and explain that? Why it's the biggest gang?
The four-armed rats? Oh, the four-armed rats. Yeah, I'm like, what is Ryan talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about. So the four-armed rats are essentially, as the populace grows, there's obviously kids, right? Yep. And kids growing up, they obviously play together, they meet up. It's innocence, right? Mm-hmm. These kids are just known as four-armed rats.
And they kind of just rove around in a giant gang. And
exactly. Hoodlums. Yeah, they're just hoodlums. So they just kind of the local populace of kids are just known as four-armed rats because they're just a bunch of little ganger bastards.
Little pickpockets.
Exactly. Little bastards. Little four-armed rats. You little four-armed rat. And as these four-armed rats grow up, they get, is it indoctrinated?
They get like recruited.
They get recruited. They age out.
Yeah.
They age out and they join or they are recruited or scouted into the other gangs.
Once you turn biggins, you got to get a real gang.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So Tom, Kev, Ryan, and I we're all four-armed rats that were recruited into separate gangs.
Yeah, we were all friends as four-armed rats, but we were all recruited in separate gangs.
Right. And now we meet up and we broadcast. I'm sure Ryan will get into that, but that's the whole idea.
That's like the general story so far.
Yeah. But think of the idea if you want to kind of think about what the four-armed rats look like. I imagine it as it's a lot of grays and blacks with just splashes of yellow. That's like the thing. All of these kids kind of wear drab, dark colors, but the gang color is yellow. We can do.
I was
thinking yellow for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm thinking purple.
Fuck, let's do purple.
Yeah.
Purple, makes sense. Four-armed rats.
Yeah.
So not only is four-armed rats a gang, but four-armed rats is also the way the rats look. So picture a rat with 6 legs, basically.
Yep.
And they can stand up on their hind legs and hiss at you real loud.
Yep.
But as you guys have heard us talk about, we've talked about fucking four-armed rat burger. We've talked about four-armed rat barbecue. Four-armed rats are just kind of what we fucking eat now.
When you're as poor as the Underhive is,
it's that
that's what you eat.
Fuck, we didn't even bring it up. Demolition Man. It's the whole idea of Demolition Man. Like, man, this is the best burger I've had.
Ask him where the cows are.
Don't ask. What's in this burger?
Rat.
Man, this is the best rat burger I've ever had. And he just keeps on eating it. So 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio is a pirate radio show broadcasting daily from various locations across the Underhive. Basically, the idea is that we have to run from location to location, either to get better signal or because the people that we're broadcasting with chase us out.
Yep.
We're always on the run. We're always moving. The Arbites don't like us because we share the news of the Underhive. We talk about the Underhive. We talk about the Hives. We talk about the Hive's most famous sport, murder ball.
Yeah, murder ball.
Yeah, we're that thorn in the Underhive that the Arbites would like to not exist anymore.
That I'm sure the Mechanicus doesn't appreciate us turning on all this equipment without them.
Yeah, we boost our signal so much that the Upper Hivers can listen. In fact, we might even have some Upper Hiver benefactors.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly.
So we stylized all of this a lot on the fake ads and TV shows from games like Cyberpunk 2077, Grand Theft Auto, any of those games where there's a fake radio station, there's a fake talk show, there's anything like that. That's kind of our impetus.
So good.
We're worlds.
I always think of like Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
That's literally,
you know
that's literally in my head. That's why I keep trying to do that crazy 80s voice.
Exactly.
Crazy radio voice.
Yep.
Fucking love that stuff. So the cool thing about this lore is that we work on it with our community via Discord. We're always expanding the lore of the Hive itself, and eventually we will touch on the Hive worlds. Our newest project is the creation of the sport of murder ball.
Yeah, which I think I went over names on that thing the other day for like over an hour.
Yep.
Murder ball.
We're working out positions. We've actually even talked about coming up with some basic rules using some of the old Necromunda rules and kind of merging it.
Or D66 stuff.
Merging it with like Unreal Tournament, like 2K, if you guys remember that game.
Blood Bowl.
Yeah, Blood Bowl.
NFL Street.
Starting to like play with those ideas of just crazy ass. But what's a sport that people that live in a world like this might play?
Rugby, but gnarly.
Rollerball.
Worse.
Murder ball.
I mean, rollerball is a very good idea.
Or death race.
Think of.
That's fun.
Like something so extreme, like people die.
Dude, Running Man.
Yeah, Running Man.
Yeah.
Running Man.
A lot of examples.
One of my favorites, dude. Running Man.
I need to rewatch that one.
I like when he signs on the dude's back and then fucking stabs him. All right, yeah. So to get back to that, So to get into our main topic today, we're actually going to talk about something that our Discord community brought up. By the way, our Discord community is fucking amazing. It's growing. It's great. We would love you guys to join. You can find out how down in the show notes, and we'll plug it at the end as well. Yeah, so our as we mentioned, we're working on rules for Murder Ball. We just ran down a bunch of inspirations for how we came up with the game.
Just created a couple teams too.
Yeah, we created a couple of teams with our Discord community.
Well, hey, why not, guys? We're talking about various gangs and stuff right now. Why not go to some development talk? Ryan, you haven't gotten a gang yet.
I haven't developed my gang yet. No, I'm the Goblin King, as you guys know, so there'll probably be something goblin-y related. I've already started working out my little icon, my goblin with my 2 hand plasma cannons.
Yeah.
Because I gotta. I don't know. You want me to come up with a name right now?
Well, no, I mean, let's go into Mark talk about yours. I can talk about mine, and then we can go into
get some inspiration.
Get some inspiration going and see if maybe we can come up.
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
I'll definitely
bit on mine already. Now.
Yeah.
We introduced Kevin's earlier, the Innsmouth militia.
Yeah, it's I mean, I could just start off.
Yeah, you want to? Yeah,
go for it, dude. Let's do some brainstorming.
So we theorized that I could be, since I play
Guard, are going to make me take notes.
It's essentially a bunch of the Underhive gang, and they use stolen PDF equipment and actually like pretend they're the military, and they don't view themselves as like criminal gang. They're like we're like preserving order.
Can I say,
dude, Robin Hood?
Can I say
it's the Milsim assholes?
Can I say?
So you came up with the idea of the Innsmouth militia. So you just kind of laid out that they're the guys who use stolen
PDF equipment, and they run around and they act like a militia, like preserving order. But they got to tax that order,
and that's why we also do.
Protection racket. Like, is that your deal?
Racket, but they like do it under the guise of being like the Underhive police and stuff like that. So it's kind of like New California Republic.
Yeah.
All out, like, shows up. They're like, we're here to bring law and order. Oh, all your resources get to come with us too.
We're here to practice our Second Amendment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Second Amendment audit.
They do it like, their ranks are all called, sergeant.
Right.
Like things like that. So they
try to organize.
They play like a war game essentially in their gang. That's how they do it. And they always they talk their language. You know how every gang kind of has like a language that kind of goes within the gang. So theirs is all like military speak.
I dig it.
Yeah.
And then I really like that because, again, Kevin plays guard. So it's really flavorful. It kind of adds a little more to his radio personality.
Yeah.
Tom, you wanna go next?
My gang is the Warmongers.
I don't know why.
Right?
Why is that?
The Warmongers? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So basically, like our primary, I guess you can say our primary color is red. That is like the whole thing. It's everything red. Their deal is weaponry. So they are constantly stealing military shipments. They're getting their hands on like old technology stuff.
So you must thump heads a lot with
all the time, like all the time. Like it is a constant thing that it is. If we're not breaking in somewhere or stealing some type of thing, like something's wrong.
So you like the DACA.
Yeah. So if you can imagine, like the human version of orcs is kind of what I was going for.
Ooh.
They're obsessed with augment technology.
Digger knobs.
So they're obsessed with like augment technology. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of like jetpacks and boost boots, like if you
like Super Mario.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you remember do you remember the Super Mario movie?
Yes, the live action
with those shoes,
the magnetic boots,
straight up, dude. Those ones.
Oh, that movie was so bad.
Hold on. So are they augmented like that, or do they just use a bunch of like industrial, they tinker with industrial gear to make it do different stuff?
I mean, both. Like some of the guys, and that's the thing, like in Underhive stuff, like most people have some type of augment. So usually most people in the Underhive have like eyes that are augmented.
Well, they're not rich enough to get that. So it's kind of like,
so that's why it's all black market.
It's Ripper Doc black market.
Yeah. So that's kind of the stuff that we're into is we're doing like weapons and we sell the weapons to get the augments. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm assuming your gang, your dudes are like the super jacked. Like, what were the guys in Cyberpunk? They were like
the Maelstrom.
Is that what it was? They were like
with like all the crazy eyes, and then they had all.
Well, no. It was the guys that were like super big. They were like jacked like a motherfucker. I can't remember their
name.
There's
I always think of juicers.
There's a hive. I can't remember.
So in Necromunda, there's like the Giganters or whatever.
Goliaths.
That's it. Yeah.
And they're just fucking massive dudes with big ass guns.
So that's what I feel like Tom's
very similar. Yeah, very similar.
But like more techie, right?
Yeah. A little bit more in the sense of like they're not like they're more of like you could say a motorcycle gang, but they don't really have motorcycles because like no, there aren't really vehicles in the Underhive. So what instead of like bikes, they have these other ways of getting around using their tech.
Yeah,
you know, like grappling
they have
hooks,
a hierarchy that is reminiscent of like a bike.
Yeah, they have a main leader,
getting like patched in and whatnot. Like
similar, It basically it functions kind of the same way.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of like just because I know that stuff. So I was like, well, yeah, I can talk that. You know, I can speak that language.
Just like Kev has like a nod to his guard. You obviously have like you got your bike.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I was thinking for mine.
I dig it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's the other thing too, like for all of us in our gangs, for our characters, like we're not fancy people in the gangs. Right. Like we're none of us are like a high ranking commanders.
Yeah, like we just got recruited from the forearm rats.
Yeah, like well, not just recruted, but
you motherfuckers is crazy. I lead as the Goblin King, but no one. That's knows fine. It. That's but no fine. One knows it.
I don't know. I think it works better story wise for all of us having this just like because why would we have the radio broadcast? Yeah, I know, you know what I mean? Like,
I know. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, but that's why I'm thinking like all of us like we're not.
You could be the son of the leader.
No. My radio personality is Goblin King because I was probably at one point. We were probably all at one point the shit in the four-armed rats, and now we are not.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we're not like bottom tier, but like we're not brand new into the gangs, but we're definitely not high-ranking officials. Like I ain't no president. You know what I mean? Like, So that was my thought.
So mine, I'm actually thinking about doing the Nutty Jays. Ryan has actually mentioned them a couple times, and they're kind of the tricksters. We were playing off
they're probably the most fleshed out,
right? I would think, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like the one who fucks around a lot, so I was like, well, I mean, it only makes sense. It only makes sense that I go with the gang that fucks around a lot. So I'm a part of the Nutty Jays.
Yeah, so the whole concept behind the Nutty Jays is that there is a upper hiver who was probably like a third or fourth son of one of the noble houses, or even maybe just one of the more powerful clans. So as a gang becomes more powerful, it becomes a clan. As a clan becomes more powerful, it might become a rogue trader or merchant. Yeah, clans control massive amounts of resources.
End up as a rogue trader because specifically rogue traders have the warrant of trade.
You could still end up working for a rogue trader,
right? They could be hired.
Yeah, there's a level that a clan aspires to, and like the big clans, Clan Goliath, Clan Escher, all of the clans that you would be familiar with from the Necromunda book. Those are like they're gangs. But they are massive gangs with massive amounts of power. So they're clans. We are talking the Underhive gang structure. But the idea is that
houses, I think at that point.
Oh yeah.
It's House Van Sar.
That's right.
Yeah. That Necromunda specifically has a lot of lore for why all of that happens. But again, like think of like houses and clans are like
pretty similar.
And then House
elevated gangs.
Got that power by manufacturing.
It's the difference. It's the difference between street level enforcement of like the 69th, ballers or whatever.
Got street gangs,
and then there's the mafia.
Gangs.
Yeah. Gotcha.
gang.
So the Nutty Jays are led by a disgraced aristocrat from the Upper Hive who wanted to pursue drama. And then for whatever reason, kind of got shoehorned into being the jester. He was the butt of the joke. He was the funny man. He was the comedian, and he didn't really succeed. He was pretty bad at it, but it kind of broke him a little bit.
Sounds familiar.
He was kind of broken a little bit and got busted down into the Underhive. So the nugget at the core of that was the idea of kind of playing on the concept of Batman versus the Joker.
Right.
In this case, though, there's an Underhive vigilante known as the Rat Man, who's really bad. Who's really bad at absolutely everything, and we never talk about him because it's just like the Rat Man is just that homeless dude who wanders around thinking he solves crimes.
Hilarious.
We killed the Rat Man.
But so the Joker, if you think about, probably more like Jared Leto style. I would imagine a little bit crazier, a little bit more twacked out,
right?
Or maybe what is it, Heath Ledger Joker?
That would be the best.
A little bit more on the edge of chaos.
Unpopular opinion? No.
We can probably have an entire argument about.
I liked Heath Ledger's I didn't watch.
He's not my
what
Joker.
is it? Suicide Squad. So I don't really.
No,
know
him also.
that
It's all about Mark Hamill, dude. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy will always be Batman and Joker to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't judge all the actors from both of those at the same time. I kind of judge them in their own little universe.
I do. To me, Joker is Mark Hamill. Like everyone else is just kind of like their own interpretation.
I agree.
Like
having only watched the non-animated stuff, to me, it as Kevin is mentioning, it depends on the story they're trying to tell. I actually didn't mind the story behind Jared Leto's Joker because I think that's the Joker we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen the
it's just different styles.
Criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
Joker.
Gangster.
We've seen the chaotic guy. We've seen the jokester,
the crazy guy.
We've seen the crazy guy, and that was like the next iteration was like the unhinged, like Scarface level gangster.
Right.
But anyway, the idea behind the leader of the Nutty Jays is he's kind of like this. Another little tidbit for you guys that we haven't figured out, we haven't finalized, is that his girlfriend might, in fact, be a Harlequin, as in literally an Eldar who is in the Underhive for some reason, and that reason may literally be just to fuck with him and to fuck with the Underhive.
That's super funny. I remember we talked about it, but it didn't click in my head until right now. Like
that was the Joker and Harley Quinn.
That's hilarious.
So
that's so funny. It didn't click until like right now.
We messed around a little bit when we were coming up with the rules for Murder Ball and the way that the sport is organized. The other little tidbit that we'll give you guys right now is that the commissioner of Murder Ball might be a Dark Eldar who is actually manipulating the entire sport just to feed the slave pits of Gamora.
Yeah, okay, I can believe that.
I remember
might be a little webway portal.
There might be a little webway portal down there in the sump nobody knows about except a couple of people.
Just like what they do with the winners of Running Man.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they're all dead.
What was that? Was that movie The Island? With,
the Island,
yeah. And they win the lottery, and they don't. They just get their fucking
guts ripped out. Yeah.
Because they were all clones of famous people.
Well, they're basically they're surrogates. They're like, I need an organ. So.
Yeah, they're all clones of famous or rich people who then want to collect on their organs.
Yeah,
and so then they win the lottery. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
so I'm not
to the island, which is really you get disemboweled and
man, you get harvested.
You're an organ farm.
Yeah. So I haven't really come up with a name yet, but the level that I'm kind of leaning toward is essentially kind of the opposite, not the opposite, but kind of the other side of the coin from your warmongers. So I'm thinking mohawks, bright neon colors, lots of think of Razor Girls, Razor Boys. These are people.
I'm thinking more splatter punks from RoboCop.
Yeah. People that specialize in like using bladed weapons up close.
Ooh, I dig that.
But some of us have a penchant for plasma.
So you're talking like because like Shadowrun, Street Samurai.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Well, Shadowrun, Razor Girls. So in Shadow, did you play the Hong Kong, Shadowrun Hong Kong?
That was the top down one, right?
It was the ISO, yeah.
I did not.
So there's the girl, there's a gothy looking girl in the Shadowrun games.
I'm interested.
Like crazy ass, like
girthy looking girl, yes.
Like
gothy looking girl.
She's really
girthy.
She's girthy.
I'm interested.
The girthy man.
Either way, still in.
So she's relatively emaciated looking. She kind of looks like she's dead, like a vampire. But her hands end in like really long claws. She's a Razor Girl. So a Razor Girl is basically somebody who's augmented their fingertips to be blades.
That's sick. So like
Catwoman.
So what's her name from X-Men? I can't
Lady
remember.
Death.
Yes. No. Is it Lady Death?
Lady Death. Or Ripclaw from Image Comics.
No, it might be Lady Death. It's the one of Wolverine's old
basically the Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
But for combat, not for I'm misunderstood and need to win an Oscar.
Not for trimming hedgerows and dogs.
No, I was way meaner. I was like, I want to win an Oscar.
I really like them.
Johnny Depp, if you listen to our podcast, please subscribe to our Patreon. We will make a Johnny Depp level.
Hey, here's how you get Johnny Depp, right? I'm on your side, Johnny Depp. Boom, $400.
I am not watching Aquaman 2. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I will, just for Johnny Depp.
Is he going to be in it?
Yeah, because they fired her.
I don't like.
Oh, I heard.
They fired her ass. They fired her ass.
I mean, I heard that they were keeping her in the movie, and I was like, "Bitch is in prison. How's that gonna work?"
Yep, they fired her ass, dude.
Anyway,
after she was in prison, like, I guess we're not getting her.
This is not page 7. That's a podcast about celebrity news.
Right.
We're gonna.
All right, moving on.
Much bigger podcast.
So then, what's this name for your samurai cat women?
I don't know, not samurai cat women. I'm just I'm just thinking like Razor Boys, Razor Girls, like Chrome Heads.
Is that what you are? Those actual names, sleek. or are these actual names of gangs, or are these?
No, these are like concepts.
Okay, so these are ones that you're coming up with then.
Yeah, I just don't know how I'm going to do it.
Oh man! If you could think of like warmongers, right? Think of Biff from the future.
Oh yeah,
where he's like you need power. You know, like,
holy shit! There you go.
That's it.
I'm gonna write down future Biff in the notes, man.
For warmongers, yeah. That's a good example. I just thought of it right now.
So explain a little more what they look like. Maybe that'll help us brainstorm a little more.
So Mohawks,
splatterpunks, dude.
You got a lot of neon colors, a lot of bright colors. Think of like cyberpunk, like street kids from cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Did you ever see RoboCop?
Which one?
Oh, any of them?
Yes.
Okay, the last one, RoboCop. No, RoboCop 3.
I mean, it's been like 15, 20 years.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's been a long time.
Whenever they show like the punkers, like the punk kids with like the giant mohawks, they're like, shoot them in the mouth. Like, robots eat bullets, you know, like that. Like,
giant, like very, the 1980s had this thing where they were trying to make punks, which were relatively peaceful people trying to change society into like bad monsters.
Was that the Satanic Panic kind of stuff?
It was like Predator 2 did that. RoboCop did that.
Yeah.
What are you trying to think of like a name?
Oh, the Pred Stars, because you brought up Predator. No, that sounds a little pedo-y.
I was like, maybe not.
Shit, never mind.
You want to have something with anarchy in it. You gotta have something anarchy.
I mean, I could fucking waste out and do Anarchy Rising, but I feel like
I can't do that.
No.
I feel like I already used that name.
Just maybe.
Blades.
Something with knives.
Slicers.
How would the Adeptus Mechanicus label anarchy? What would the high Gothic word for anarchy be?
That'd be a good thing. Well, it'd be something heretical.
The heretics?
The heresy blades?
The heretics.
the heresy blades?
Heresy blades.
Too long. It's got a flow.
Let's see. What was the base word again? Sorry.
Anarchy. Make anarchy into a fake Latin word.
Something with blades.
So Latin for anarchy is licentia.
That's a real long word.
That's a sexy word.
That is a really sexy word.
That's a really sexy word. Licentia.
That is not a really long word, but it looks real long.
There you go.
Licentia.
You are the placentia now.
Licentia placenta.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like a unifying. Oh, fuck it. Unifying color is probably no, because that's House Escher.
I mean, who cares if they're matching colors? It'd be so. What I kind of
if I was to tell you right now, you wanted to make the gang that's in my head. You wanted to go to the store and just buy a couple of model kits and start bashing these guys together.
Right.
I would tell you to mix Escher and Crawdor together.
I was thinking they would look mostly like Escher.
Yeah.
Just like by nature.
Yeah.
Or what is it? The new Far Cry. The post-apocalyptic Far Cry one.
Oh, the new Dawn.
Yeah, where everything's all neon, but they're all fucking post-apocalyptic.
I have a huge.
It looks
not
like
necessarily.
No. The name
concert went paintballing kind of thing.
Concert went paintballing.
Chaotic Edges.
Chaotic Edges.
No.
So like a weird edge.
Never mind. You don't like it. Never mind. Fuck it.
The thing is about
you were just like it's got a flow.
Weapons.
Well, I was just thinking like that's an example. Obviously, not everybody's going to do it, but there's going to be a lot of focus on street samurai sort of stuff.
Yeah,
lots of blades, probably axes, not fucking two-handed power mauls, like just fucking axes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, I think we're just going to have to give up on you, man. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's something to continue. I don't think we can come up with it necessarily right now.
Yeah.
But that's something to continue. Maybe if people are listening, they could throw out some ideas.
But I'll definitely tell you that my persona, the Goblin King, prefers to fight with 2 plasma pistols because he's a crazy fuck.
The Creatines.
Korean teens?
I'm just making up words.
That's a pre-workout.
I think that's creatine.
What is that? There's a company that the Preacher, the skateboard company.
Who?
Wow. Never mind.
No, I know.
I just brought up counterculture stuff, and everybody here was like, "What the fuck?"
I kind of remember there being like a creature feature or something like skateboard deck.
Yeah.
But I don't have much knowledge of it.
That's actually something I work into. Probably a lot of skate culture stuff.
Yeah. So like knife, axe type stuff. Think like what's a famous like murder or something that
well, here's the real question. Like, what do you do?
Horror.
Like, what is it? Like, we all like
they knife you, dude.
Well, no, like, okay, so Jays are basically about like anarchy, right? And
is that what the Jays are about?
The Jays are about fucking clown around.
So the Innsmouth militia pretends to be the Underhive Arbites.
Well, it's muscle. Like, they pretend to be muscle.
Yeah, and they're very, very wrapped up in like protection racket and stuff like that. Yeah. The warmongers,
arms dealers, and then Jays are.
We just like to fuck with people.
Yeah, so it's Jays are more about anarchy.
Yeah. What about like you're like?
So then, what's your thing then? Yeah,
just
hitmen,
like, straight up murder people. Take their shit.
Yeah, I guess like hired guns, like mercs.
Yeah, like hitmen.
Yeah, it's a straight fucking, it's a mercenary. Yeah.
I think hitmen would probably be better, like assassins almost.
Oh, assassins. Yeah. So assassins. So that's good.
The Kill Bills?
What's the assassin with the claws?
The what?
The assassin with the claws.
Eversor?
The Eversor?
Ooh.
Right? The Hive Source. Or, ooh, I like that. That's gross.
No, I mean,
what was the one that I came up with?
You're the herpes.
No, but that's gross. I like that. Like,
what was the name that I came up for? The Sworn. What about the Wretched?
I like that.
Yeah, that works.
Because it doesn't really play
kind of like street punk like looking. That works.
Yeah, but you got to tie in something else. Like,
what's another word for wretched that feels colorful?
That is the colorful word for
that is the colorful word for wretched.
Wretched is the colorful word for like homeless piece of shit.
Ooh, what about like Everwreckers? I like that one. The Everwreckers. I like that one.
That seems more like brute force, though. You want finesse.
This has to imply finesse.
Yeah, because I mean, Eversor, but like the Calidus, like the. I want to get rid of.
Well, because
swords.
like their whole thing. Well, no, because their whole thing is like they're kind of modeling themselves after the assassins, right? Like
hierarchy.
They're kind of I
if you're Hitman, you want to model yourselves after the assassins, and the assassins are like very much like utilizing that type of stuff and technology that you guys are using, right? So I would say try to make it like if he's like a knockout of the guard, you're going to be a Hive knockoff of like the Assassinorum.
Right. And there might even be what are the blade assassins, the blood assassins? There's the two girls. I don't even know. I didn't even think about this. There's the two female models. They're twin assassins. They're a death cult. The death cult assassin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Look up that model. Look up the death cult assassin.
Death cult assassin?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about it.
Oh yeah, death cult.
So what's the death cult called? Is it just called death cult?
I think they're just called death cult assassin.
Death cult assassins? Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. See, yeah, so that's kind of like that. So he's just pulled up a picture of one chick with two swords and another chick with another death asses. Yeah. Dude, I like Hive swords. Like, I think that's gross. I like it.
The like scabies.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know.
Dude, Call Jericho's like fucking wingman is just named Scabby because he has scabies.
Yeah. I forgot about that. And he's always talking about how he's missing scabes.
Yeah. Fucking love that dude. It's super awesome. So yeah, I'm thinking more like, that's why I was thinking like the Wretched. Because like, I think of like a punk. I'm also like, I'm still trying to tie it in a punk band name. What's a name that
you need to start with the then? That's how you
that's how I was like, it needs like the something. Like, that's how I'm picturing this, is it needs like the something. Like the Death Hivers,
the Sum 41s,
the Lost in the Dead.
Get out.
The Lost in the Dead. Like the Dead Kennedys. Wait, can you do the Dead Kennedys? What's a famous house?
Phase Blades?
Ooh.
Phase Blades.
Yeah, because the Calidus Assassin has a Catan phase sword. So, and then I'm thinking like you like knives and shit. So the phase blades.
The phase blades. I like that.
That adds like kind of the,
I like
what do you call it? The
aesthetic. The phaser faces.
Yeah, phaser face. No, it adds that, I'm trying to think of the word.
When you were coming up with all of your weird like jump boots and like, backpacks, I was totally thinking a rocket. I'm like, hey, just fucking sit around and like, how can we combine these toilet parts to make a gun?
Yeah, that's exactly what I envisioned.
What's the paint style that you wanted though?
Oh yeah, color scheme.
Splatter. Synthwave.
For the synthwave. So it's like a synthwave kind of feel, you know. The phase is kind of synthy, right? Phase.
I like phase. I like phase.
Phase blades. Phase
Death
edges.
phase.
Death phase.
I'm definitely going for that like 1980s synthwave, heavy synthwave.
Yeah.
Like
death phasers. What about that?
Phasers.
I like death phasers.
I feel like that's too cliche.
That's too tongue tied.
Yeah.
Why death phasers?
Yeah,
it's too like sixth grade coming up with bullshit.
I am.
Fair,
I mean, are
fair.
any of
I'm
these
the blood
not?
drinkers. No,
Yeah,
that's
right?
an actual thing.
Oh my god, dude! That's why I hate whenever these like people are trying to come up with like Space Marine names. They're like, I want a sanguineous guy. So I was thinking of like the blood drinkers. I'm like, that's dumb. It's not creative.
Well, we came up with a bunch of names for that guy. That's what I was thinking because I thought of this. We were trying to help God Warrior, and I came up with the one word. It was the scorn. That was it.
Yeah, but what was that one that I came up with that it has like chaos incarnate or something like that. Death incarnate. What about something like that? Incarnate. Chaos.
Death stalkers. Phase stalkers. No, that
Phase
sounds.
stalkers. That's cool.
That sounds a little too like army.
What about?
I feel like the Necrons have something called a phase.
What about Hive Fried Chaos?
Hive Fried Chaos.
Kentucky Fried Chaos. That was actually an old gamer clan that I was in.
I actually really like Kentucky Fried Chaos.
That was a gamer clan that I was in.
Do Innsmouth Fried Chaos. I'm writing Innsmouth Fried Chaos down. I don't know what we're going to use it for, but so yeah, this is the process, guys. And like normally we would be bouncing.
You run into dead ends a little bit, and you got to just kind of piddle around until you find something.
And we'll bounce ideas off of our community. Our community will come up with ideas that spawn entire ideas on their own. And that's kind of how we that's what we like about this.
Yeah.
Is this co-writing ability essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can kind of break down like each of our thought processes, like, well, what do you like? What is similar to that? What is cool that is similar to that? These like Eversor Assassins or the Callidus Assassins.
Makes it cool.
Exactly.
Okay, let's expand upon that.
Yeah, and then you build upon like the things that you like. So like you wanted synthwave.
Oh, Callus Blades.
Callus blades. Keep going.
Phase blades.
Phase blade. Yeah, but that's kind of. I was like, it's just phase. Like I don't know, callus blades. I like that because it's like, whatever. Because they're callous, you know.
Oh, I get it.
Or they're the knife they use to cut off, like when you get those like extra skin on your feet.
Have you guys has anybody ever read anything by Terry Pratchett? So Terry Pratchett is a comedic writer. He does a lot of stuff in like fantasy worlds. He's a British author. One of the book series he introduces the Assassins. Like the organization is called the Assassins, and they're not hiding anything. And like people just go to them.
Well, it's like they had that in like Morrowind. It was like, go join the Thieves Guild.
Right,
it's like
the Thieves Guild.
I wonder what they do.
Well, no. So because I played Morrowind and I played a bunch of the Elder Scrolls games, like it's everybody knows the Thieves Guild exists, but nobody knows.
You're going.
Like nobody knows how to talk to them. Like you have to find them. Same with the Assassin's Guild. Like everybody knows the Assassin's Guild exists, but nobody like knows who's in it.
What about the Exodus?
The Exodus. I actually just came up with a crazy name that I wanted to share.
Go for it. Go for it.
Splatterhawks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the reaction I was looking for right there.
That wins.
I like that.
Yep, that wins.
Yeah.
Splatterhawks? Yeah.
That's sick. And like when they
splatter punks, man.
They
it's my
do
boy.
like the blood eagle almost. Like when they kill people, they slit their throat and they throw like blood on the wall.
Especially considering that some of the like axes are probably one of the axes, gladius, any short weapon that can be snuck into a thing. Maybe in the Splatterhawks like main meeting hall. There's actually an ultramarine gladius on the wall. No one knows where the fuck it came from, but whoever the gang leader is like, yeah, I beat that off a guy.
I found it. Yeah, I like that.
I'll kill the Space Marine. That's how you end up in this chair. You kill a Space Marine.
Splatterhawks. That's
Splatterhawks.
cool. I like that. I
love that.
Now we just need to incorporate anybody that listens to this and likes this to jump on our Discord and start coming up with other gangs.
Yeah.
Because we need more gangs for story.
Not so much that. What kind of I and Ryan were thinking were more like the people in our Discord can join each of our gangs.
Oh, you want to soft? Are we soft announcing it now?
Ish. Sorry.
So one of the ideas that we had that we were going to announce when we had a little bit more artwork
I'm sorry.
was that everybody right now, our patrons, you guys are known as four-armed rats, but
Y'all are
as
children.
we
Children.
as we develop
Y'all
our
are punk ass children.
as we develop our gangs, you pick the gang that you want, and then your tag and your color changes. That's why I have yellow stuck in my head for four-armed rats, because we made them yellow.
Our patrons yellow. Yeah.
Make them purple.
Yellow. Purple?
Make them
Y'all
purple.
shall be purple.
I like
from
gold
now on.
though.
Yeah, the gold is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the gold.
All right, guys. Well, that's that gives you an introduction into Hive cities, Hive worlds. Gives you an introduction into the Innsmouth Hive and what we're developing and why we're developing it.
Yeah, there
You
you
guys
go.
have any closing thoughts on Hives? What did I leave out? I'm sure I left out something.
I was gonna say
Everybody wants to join the Warmongers. That's fine.
this episode is specifically for you, Patrick, because you bitch.
I mean,
Yeah, Patrick,
Jason requested
jeez.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
You real piece of work.
You real piece of work. Let me tell you something.
Have I met Patrick? Am I just being grumpy at somebody I don't know?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. This is my
Not
buddy.
that-
This is my buddy that has like 15,000 points of Tyranids. And
Damn,
like,
bro.
Yeah, he has a lot. He's been playing since second or third.
Oh, so he's been playing as long as I have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much so. But he also is a closet 40k player.
Oh, yeah, I was one of those.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Tom. There were times that I tried to talk to Tom.
I gotta
40K,
share-
and he's like, "Not here."
Not here, man. No,
I gotta
we
share-
don't bring that shit up in
Don't
public.
bring that up around girls.
Absolutely.
Moron.
Absolutely. One of the first conversations Tom and I ever had at Wasteland that wasn't business related, because I worked for Wasteland, was, "Hey, I heard you play Warhammer." And Tom's like, looked around. Yeah. So what do you,
No. What I said was,
what do you play?
what I said
We'll
was,
talk about it later.
Yeah, what I said was, not here, not now.
Because there was probably a girl.
Yeah, well, I was like, not
No,
here.
no,
Like,
there was nobody around.
doesn't matter.
We
Doesn't matter.
We were,
Tom's like,
we were heavy
you
in
don't know
setup.
who's listening
yeah,
right now.
exactly. I was
We
like,
were heavy in setup,
it is
so.
just everybody.
Let me tell you something, Ryan. You be a piece of work, man. Let me tell you something.
I was petrified, man. I never admitted that shit ever.
Which is funny because my entire Wasteland gang, which is Anarchy Rising, which is why I didn't want to do something Anarchy wise, was we're speed freaks. I literally based my fucking Wasteland tribe off of Orcs.
Hell yes. So
I mean, I wanted to turn our the big tower that we build out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to put a walk
some
banner
art-
on
hell
it.
put some
yeah.
arky shit on
hell
it.
yeah.
You know what? If enough of us went out and we're just like, fuck it, this is now the 40k.
This is now 40K
The 40k desert party.
Oh,
I have
shit,
a
dude.
feeling, as
People would
mad
roll
as they would be, they'd be like, "Fuck it, it's over now."
It's already happened.
There's too many
It's
of
too
them.
late.
There's too many of them.
coming.
The walk coming.
The walk cometh and
So-
taketh away.
So it's funny that you guys mentioned how you kind of like closet 40k players. I mean, that's honestly how a lot. Well,
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
back in the day, that's how a lot of people were. Honestly,
Yeah.
like nerds, growing up, nerds weren't exactly the cool thing, right?
Yeah. What the?
Well,
fuck
it's not-
happened?
it's
Why
not
are nerds
only
cool
that-
now.
It's not only
Because
that.
graduated, that's
hipsters.
why.
No, because hipsters. That's
It's not only that, but even in nerddom, Warhammer 40k has always kind of held the
neckbeard champion of the
extra.
worlds.
I wouldn't put it there. I would actually say like a lot of Warhammer 40k is deeply rooted in like crazy late 1980s power metal hair culture,
Oh yeah,
and that's
there is a lot of that.
incredibly intimidating.
It's niche,
So
for
so
sure.
when you're the like fucking heavy metal like chain wearing all black grumpy nerd, even other nerds are like, those guys are scary.
Oh yeah,
Like, but
And like I'm gonna release a hot take right now. Wasteland's pretty fucking nerdy, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Way we fucking Ren Fair the apocalypse. We Ren Fair Mad Max. It's
Yeah.
not exactly.
but it's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
it's
I love
cosplay.
it. It's cosplay extreme
extreme
It is literally
and
cosplay.
camping.
and camping
It's LARP.
and off roading.
So the
It's
story.
LARP, and people get mad when I call it LARP. And then
This-
I'm like, I play Airsoft, and I call Airsoft LARP too, because let's face
Yeah.
it, it's live action role playing.
It's true.
Playing is something. Yeah.
So
People
the
get so
story,
mad, man.
the story I wanted to share for the whole closet thing.
Is it from a book that you're reading?
Audiobook.
No, this
He
is a
doesn't
real
read.
story. This is a real story, and I don't read. Thank you, Kevin. God,
He listens. I'm sorry.
yeah.
So you're
Kevin knows what's up.
a closeted nerd.
Not me. Well, I mean, I was ish. So, but the story. So I was doing a physical fitness test, right? And the guy that I got paired up with big buff dude, right? Big buff dude. This dude's like 6'5", like can fucking bench me. I mean, I only weighed like maybe 200 at the time, but he was a big dude. All right. My point is, he was the epitome of what a Marine would look like, right? So I get paired up with him. And I'm like, oh shit! Like I was like, I gotta do all 100 of these sit-ups right now.
Like he's gonna do them all, and I'm gonna end up looking like a bitch no matter how many?
Exactly.
I do, but try.
So I was like, you know what? Let me
do like 5.
I'm gonna dabble with this dude real quick. All right. I was like, let me holler at you, Playboy. All right. So he starts doing his crunches, right, or his sit-ups, and I'm like 1, 2, 5, 10. 15.
You missed an opportunity.
35.
1, 2,
Lots.
3, 4, 5. Lots. The guy's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
that probably was a pretty good opportunity. So I finished him up, right? And that was probably the not the right thing to say. So he finishes.
No, if you said if I finished him off, then I'd be like,
wait. Was there gene seed involved?
Anal gene seed. So he finishes, and then I do mine, and he hooks me up. He gives me mine.
Yeah, as you should. As you should.
Yeah.
Courteous.
And then after I'm like, hey, dude, I don't want to drive home. You mind if I sounds so bad. You mind if I change at your barracks? So he's like, yeah, sure. So I drive him up. He's like, because he needed a ride also. He needed a ride up to the barracks. Okay. So I gave him a ride, and I was like, yeah, cool. I'll change here too. So I changed, and as I'm changing, I see in his locker.
Oh, locker.
A sex swing. No, I'm just kidding. I see a codex.
You're like
a 4th edition.
I dabble.
A 4th edition Tyranid codex. And I'm like, this buff motherfucker
is a nerd.
Is a fucking nerd. So I look at him, I'm like, hey.
We're both naked.
So I'm buck ass naked, and I look at Playboy, and I'm like, hey man, let me holler at you.
You dabble?
I was like, you play 40k? You play 40k? He's like, maybe. Why? And I'm like, I play 40k. And he's like, oh. Step over here. And I'm like,
put some pants on first and then come over here.
Put some pants on first and step over here. Yeah. He opens up his locker. There is a whole entire locker from floor to ceiling filled with Tyranids.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, I have 1,500 points of salamanders. You want to play with me? He's like, fuck no, you fucking nerd. Peasant. Peasant.
Until your army stacks to your height.
You can't even look at me, man. Yeah. So, since that day, we have been best friends. He's my best friend.
That's cool.
Along with you guys. You guys are my best friends.
Yeah, right. Yo, shut the fuck up. Yeah, man. What are we, chop liver?
Yeah, you chop liver? Yeah, no, I still talk to him to this day. Like, I haven't seen this guy in like 10 years. And we still fucking talk like almost every day.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I feel that pain, man. I never admitted to anybody I played 40k.
Yeah. So that's my story. My heart warming, but booty hole touching story.
I have a similar kind of interaction.
Would you like to share to finish up our podcast?
I got a little bit of one too.
You got one too? All right.
I was at a Boy Scout camp, believe it or not.
Oh.
And this was right after Dawn of War came out. No. Was it? It might have been right around when Dawn of War came out. I don't remember the years. But essentially we had to like interact with people from other groups of Boy Scouts.
Right.
And, Boy Scouts are all socially awkward. I was one of the least socially awkward ones, which is kind of funny.
Say it ain't so, Kevin.
But essentially, it turned out that the guy that I had to interact with, we both played Battlefield 1942, and we both liked Warhammer.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh, what? And he was like, there's a bunch of guys in my Boy Scout group that play Warhammer.
Oh.
So after our little class, merit badge class that we were working on, I went back to his camp. And we just hung out with a bunch of nerds. And they had brought codexes with them.
Oh shit. Dude.
And so we were looking at codexes. We didn't have armies with us.
Yeah.
But it was just cool to nerd out with a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, you're like, you dabble?
Yeah, it was super cool. And it was like, wait, you
Yeah, you
you too?
You
and
too?
I was friends with him I'm still friends with him on Facebook. We don't talk anymore.
So is this similar to like finding out if someone smokes? Like that before?
Actually, I guess that would.
Is it pretty similar to that?
That would be kind of like
I
that.
haven't-
Like you.
So another side story for me. I'm walking home and I have a hoodie on and my backpack, and I'm walking from school, ignoring cholos and whatnot. And a dude walks up and he's like, "Hey, dog, you got them fruits? You got them fruits, man?
You got them fruits?
Yeah." So, and I'm like,
Jesus Christ!
I was like,
okay.
Back in the day, you couldn't say
exactly,
just straight up
exactly. And I look at him and I'm like,
about it.
Guys, I have a really, really rough and colorful past. I have never heard anybody refer to it as the fruits.
I've
Really? The only thing,
but I get what.
yeah, you
understand.
exactly.
I mean,
The
I get
best-
it. It's sticky and it's bud.
the
so
best
can
I
see
ever heard
fruit.
was some dude say, "Yo, man, you got the dodo?" And I said, "The dodo?" He says, "Yeah,
They
the
died out a
dodo."
long time ago.
To confuse the popo.
I got you. I got you.
Nice.
I always referred to it as the devil's lettuce.
The devil's. You got some of that devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or there's like hand signals.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
People have like the smoke, like holding the joint motion. That
Yeah, and I wanted to be a smartass and be like, "Yeah, I got an apple. You want my apple?"
That's what he wanted. He was actually he had
It's
nothing to
just a
smoke
banana
it.
in my pocket.
He had nothing to smoke it with. He was looking
Yeah.
for.
Is there a banana in your pocket? Or are you happy
I'm
to
just
see
looking
me?
for an apple to build a.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience. More than once.
Wait. That was your experience into getting to Warhammer?
No. That was my side. So I was saying.
I know.
Yeah,
Mark just went off on a really weird tangent.
Fucking with you.
Just derailing.
I am. That's what I do. Ryan, would you like to share your story to round up our podcast?
So, I did not have any of these hangups. I think the majority of the reason is I was like a skater punk and a kid asshole, and I ended up living in Washington State. And when you're a skater punk and a kid asshole into punk music and you live in Washington State, there's not a lot to do. So as soon as I kind of just got used to Magic being something that even the cool kids played, I started playing Warhammer because the cool kids kind of messed with it. However, I did have a really weird stigma about role-playing games until I was probably 18 or 19. No. 16 or 17. And it was a Marine that broke that stigma from me because I was working on base already. I was already starting to do stuff around base. And there was this dude who introduced me to Ravenloft.
You'd be surprised how many Marines are actually nerds.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Like
you've gotta figure out, and having been through some stuff, you have to figure out where your happy place is. You have to figure out how to tell yourself stories. You have to occupy a lot of downtime, and you have to keep your mind focused on something other than. So it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
But-
there's only so much you can pack in a barracks, and Xbox fits very conveniently.
And paper and pencil.
Yeah, paper and pencil, making up your own stories.
A couple books,
couple of dice or not. Dice don't take up that much room, and you
don't
can
require
fucking
electricity.
and you can fucking role play with pretty much anything. You got a handful of dice and some poker chips, you can improvise the game real
Oh
quick.
yeah, easily.
But when I got into Warhammer as an adult, I guess, I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but kind of around the time that you guys are talking about, where like I was no longer a child, I no longer spanked like a child, I no longer painted like a child. Now I spanked like a man and painted like a man. That nobody gets.
I've never heard that. Is that you referencing something?
Yeah,
From like
I
the 80s?
spanked like a man as soon as I discovered spanking.
No. Like when I was a child, I
Same.
spoke like a child. So it's a Bible verse. When I was a child,
Well, there's your problem.
I did this. When I became a man, I put away childish things. I just ripped on it.
I'm going to say something really controversial right now. Ryan,
What up?
feel free to cut this out. Is the Bible on audiobook?
Probably.
Absolutely.
It totally is. I don't know why you want me to cut that out.
Audiobook.
Hey. If you're shopping for the basic instructions for biological life on Earth, I'm sure we can find you an audio copy.
All right. Is it
So
free?
probably. So when I got really involved with, or when I got involved with my first Warhammer group as like an 18 or 19-year-old, I was super surprised to find out that like the lead singer of this weird death metal band in our local area, which you guys may have heard of, called Wither, was one of the players. There was a dude who was a lawyer who was a player. It was just a huge swath of life that I did not associate with like game nerd culture. It was really interesting. But, yeah,
Gnarly.
that was it.
Gnarly, man.
I'll cut out some stuff there.
So you were widely accepted for your nerdum. And I was not.
I just didn't have the negative high school experience that I feel that I needed to have to fit in sometimes.
Well, you mean like getting beat down for being a nerd so you learn how to chameleon?
Yeah, probably because I was on the other side of that particular coin, and I'm sorry. And
that is what it is.
I played. I was a skater punk, and skating culture was super big.
You were a skater boy?
No, I was not a skater boy.
See you later, boy.
She did not do ballet. We're not going down this fucking route.
Hey, you talked about Sum 41 earlier, bro.
I brought up
you got
Sum
no
41.
who to talk, Doug.
You deserve this.
I brought up Sum 41. I said the Sum 41. This sort of brainstorming and lore building is the entire reason that our narrative club started. And it's the entire reason that we decided we really wanted to work together on the podcast. We'll continue to expand on the creative writing process and get deeper into our own lore, official lore, and all of the other bits and pieces that make fucking Warhammer 40k amazing to play and invent in. But we want to know, do you have your own Hive gang? We want to know, do you have your own Hive? Do you have your own ideas on how to build a Hive gang, or do you want to work with us on building one? You can reach out to us through underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or jimdarkgaming@gmail.com. Have a desire to work with us on the lore of the Innsmouth Hive itself? We got you covered. You can join us over on Discord.
Best way to reach out to us at all times.
There's a whole thread, which is called the Hive Project. You can jump in there, start asking us questions, come up with some ideas. We love expanding this world. If you like what we're doing and you want to support us, you can find us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/underthehiveofmadness and join the growing Underhive gang of four-armed rats. There, you can help us decide things like our next major lore series, video podcasts, sneak peeks, and other upcoming content. We're also working out some of the basic prototypes and rules for games, scenarios, campaigns on our own, and we plan to release some pretty nifty PDFs at some point for you guys to enjoy. If you want to keep in touch with us and follow what we're doing on social media, head over to our link tree, which is linktree/underthehive, for a collection of our various projects. Thank you for joining us at 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. The diva herself is about to step on stage, and let me tell you, the Hive is ringing already. This is going to be a show the Mechanicus wishes they saw recorded and wrote down an Imperial record. Cleopatra Estrada looks absolutely stunning tonight, and I, for one, am ready to have my ears positively sung off my face.
Pour some red squig on me.
Red Squig gives you teeth.
And if you're wondering how you can get an extra can or two of Red Squig this Sanguinius Eve, remember to leave an offering out for the four-armed emperor so he protects your household and gives you extra presents at night. Goody.